So as you've kind of seen, the InfoSight is really more than just a web portal, more than a web application. It's really an entire ecosystem that feeds back into the company. We have the wellness events, proactive wellness, performance troubleshooting, and really our goal is to really expand the power of the InfoSight platform that's currently available for your physical storage environment and make that available for your virtual environment as well. And so the demo today is going to be really focused on your per VM virtual monitoring. And so I'm going to jump in here. So this is a pre-release version. So you've kind of walked through the tabs earlier with ROD. And there's so the performance view looks kind of similar to what you've seen earlier. We'll give you a breakdown of your storage arrays. And but now there's the introduction on the left-hand side over here of a inventory tree, where we show you your storage environment, your physical storage environment, as well as your virtual environment. So now you can see we have an agent that's running on our Nimble array. So there isn't an agent required for your ESX host or your VMs. So really all you need to do is just enable a feature on the array, and we'll go out and gather all these, all the topology of your virtual machines, your hosts, and performance metrics. So there's nothing you actually have to modify in your virtual infrastructure. So here in this list, you'll see a list of hosts, lists of individual VMs, individual VMDK disks, and we'll walk through a specific scenario today of the troubleshooting a noisy neighbor situation. I know someone mentioned earlier that, that's a pretty common scenario. So I have one VM in mind. So I can punch in the name of a VM. This is gathered from real customer data from some early adopters. The names we've generated, but this is based off of real production data. And so what we can do here is search for a VM by name. I'll select the individual VM, and then we'll actually go out and we'll analyze the VM's latency. And so thanks to the data science team here, we can break down the latency into categories such as host, network, storage, and then you'll be able to correlate those statistics with activity on the host. So here we're gathering things like your CPU usage, your CPU ready, memory usage, memory swap.
You're doing that with the client that you have on the host to gather that sort of data?
So actually we have a process that's basically running on the Nimble array that will go out and talk to your vCenter environment and gather those statistics for you. So you don't have to install anything on your host or your VM. So it's really just switching a flag on the array to enable that collection. And so moving on to some of the other tabs. So from a VM, you'll also be able to drill down and see the data store latency. So here we're seeing the latency, the IOPS, and the throughput down to the minutely level. So you'll be able to go and see at a particular point in time on the VM what was the activity on the data store, and if there were multiple data stores, you'll be able to switch between them. In this case, I only have a single data store. We'll even go so far as to show you the individual virtual disks. So let's say this was a SQL VM, and maybe there's a OS disk, a data disk, and a log disk. You'd be able to see, perhaps is the log disk using the most active. And then finally, the related VMs tab will give you sort of a lay of the land. So here for this particular VM, we'll go and find out what VMDKs reside on what data stores, and then for those particular data stores, what other VMs are using those data stores. And so from this view, you can get a quick glance and just see, well, what other VMs were using those data stores, which other VMs are maybe also experiencing latency, or there's an example here.
In data stores, where you guys are with vVol and stuff like that. Okay, later.
Yeah, we engaged with VMware early on as one of the key design partners, and right now we have a hands-on lab demo that's available for all customers and partners for them to access vVol, registration of vendor provider, creation of vVol, snapshot, cloning, all of this. So if you want access, I'm more than happy to give you guys access. And when I do my part of the demonstration, I can actually bring that up for you
Okay,
guys.
that's fine.
Okay, you might want to clarify that none of this relies on vVols. I think that's
Yeah, this is straight API to vCenter server to gather these stats, very equivalent to ESX top that you get.
And on that question then, is this just the VM decays, or is this like a VM maybe have an extra lens assigned to it and you're getting that too?
Yeah, you get that as well. So like Gim said, if you have a VM that spans, let's say, VMDK on data store 1 and VMDK2 on data store 2, you get that as well in the view.
I mean, if the VM has, let's say, LUNs allocated to it that are not VMDKs, but just data LUNs, is this getting all of that or just the VMDK part of it?
Direct
Yeah, that's a good question.
Raw
That's the
white memory
ingest attach.
RDMs,
Yeah, I think we'll add that in the future phase.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the question. Yeah, and so jumping back in here, so this gives you a nice sort of overview of other activity that's going on, but specifically for the noisy neighbor kind of situation, you can imagine that you have a client that maybe calls you and says that there was a spike in latency at a particular point in time. I noticed my application kind of slowed down, maybe around 10 o'clock. How is there anything I should be alarmed about? Like what sort of activity was going on? So what we can do here is allow you to, just with a single click, select a point in the chart, and we'll actually go and analyze what other VMs were active at that specific point in time. So at 9:51 on Monday, we've discovered that there are about 10 VMs that are active at that time, and in this case, the top VM in the list had a workload of 31,600 IOPS. So this with just a couple of clicks and a quick search, you can really identify that noisy neighbor situation pretty quickly. So this is sort of where we're going. We're expanding InfoSight to really enable us to sort of walk up the stack and give you the same power of InfoSight, but now in your virtual environment too.
Is this VMware or this VM, or is this Hyper-V and Zen and others?
This is just VMware at the moment. So, but you can kind of see sort of where we're going, and this sort of pattern could be used going forwards in other situations.
And this functionality is available on the portal right now.
I know you'd like that.
Is this available on the portal right now, or is this?
No, this you're getting a preview, so this is the first time we've showed it outside of the company. So, but it is something that we're looking at shipping in the coming year.
It's the first time I'm seeing it.